We welcome you to Bears Talk presented by J. Brown Realtor on this Thursday, September 21st. My name is Andy Losi, and we're started off today by no other than the head football coach here at Lenoir-Rhyne and Mike Jacobs. Coach, thank you so much for joining us this week.
No doubt, Andy. Thanks for having me.
A great start to conference play, a 62-0 win over Erskine back on Saturday. How great does it feel to get a solid start in SAC play?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a chance to win a college football game, it's a big deal. To do it at home between the bricks, to play well really in all three phases, and to get a chance to play a bunch of kids, it was a really good Saturday for the Bears.
We'll start with the defensive side of the ball. We mentioned in our post-game interview back on Saturday, but 57 plays ran by the Flying Fleet. They only got 56 yards. That's something you have to be very proud about for your defense. And now it has been 3 straight dominant performances. What has been so great about your defense?
Yeah, I think just their level of preparation and then the execution that they've exhibited on Saturdays. Those guys have gone out and have played really well each week, right? Regardless of how good the competition may be or not, they have locked in. They've done their job. They've done everything we've asked of them, and they're really playing at a high level right now.
One of the players that stood out for me on the stat sheet from Saturday was Deshaun Whitmire, the freshman who led the team with 6 tackles for a defensive back. What did you like to see out of your young player out there? Because you got to see a lot of great defensive players go out in that game against Erskine,
Sure.
But he stood out on the stat sheet at the end.
Yeah, Deshaun's done a good job for us. Athletically, he's as gifted as we have. He's a really solid tackler for a young kid. And, he's worked his way into earning some reps in the defensive backfield. And, you saw a kid go out there with an opportunity to play extended period of time and again, really execute at a high level. He got guys down when the plays came to him, and they made the big play on the interception and had done a nice job in that coverage in that particular play. So excited about what the future may hold for him. He's doing a really good job right now.
I know the first time that we got together for Bears Talk, we talked about how that special teams was so young, but you said there were some promising sights with them. Well, on Saturday, we saw all ends of it play well. Yari Rogers, who at this time has been named, SAC Special Teams Player of the Week, but then also Subner getting a punt block as well. They collected 3 touchdowns for your team, which is such a big way. 3 weeks in now, what has made this part of the field or the part of the team so impressive in your eyes?
Yeah, I think just the level of buy-in, right? Special teams are truly a third of the game if you're really taking them seriously. And we have a number of our young kids who are having an opportunity to play that are making an impact on those units, as well as some veterans. And what you're getting is you're getting high-effort kids executing their assignments at a high level, and it's having a big impact on our field position and the scoreboard for us right now.
We saw 4 different quarterbacks in action on Saturday. We saw White, we saw Ferguson as well with Robinson and Cagle. Jalen Ferguson, though, 5 of 6 for 130 yards, including a 68-yard touchdown pass. How much do you think we're going to see out of the redshirt sophomore this year for the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to evaluate everything week to week. Jalen came in and played at a really high level, sparked us a little bit when we maybe had not been as efficient as we needed to be in certain aspects. And it'll just depend, right? Sean's a guy that's, I think, 10-3 as a starter now. He's second leading passer in the conference last year, but you still have to execute. And so we'll go out and those guys will practice and we'll play as we see fit.
An underrated part of this performance, and all ends played really well, but I think an area we haven't talked about was the ground game. 315 total yards. McGee was able to be the leading rusher with 102 on the ground, and then Turner Knox as well had a 100-yard plus performance. That was the best rushing performance we've seen from your team this season, and in that kind of game where we talk about all the aspects that played well, this running game is probably going to be that X factor for your offense moving forward, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the ability to play and manage the line of scrimmage or dominate the line of scrimmage is a big key to success, and you've seen it all 3 weeks out of the defense. Offensively, I thought we did a really nice job with the game plan for the run game going into the Erskine game. And excuse me, I thought you saw the backs execute it and play well. Dewey had a great day. Xavier Turner-Knox continues to grow into his role. And then Zaire Dillard is as consistent of a player as we have in that room. And all three of those young men combined to have a really strong day for us.
Growing up in school, you always had that end of the quarter mark. We've reached the end of the first quarter in your regular season now. What's your overall assessment as you stand at 3-0?
We're certainly happy to be in the position to be 3-0. We're happy to be 1-0 in the conference, but we are certainly not complacent or anywhere near where we want to be as a program. Right? There's things that we need to clean up and continue to work on, and we've got to play with a chip on our shoulder and like we have something to prove each and every week. And so, although happy where we're at, certainly not satisfied or content.
Week 4 brings the first road conference game of the season, a 1 p.m. kickoff against Carson Newman. We talked about how you survived the early road test against Fayetteville State, but now in the conference, you head out to a team in the Mountain Division. What does this matchup bring between the Bears and the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, Carson Newman, the history of the program, right? I mean, it's they have long-term sustained success, and I think Coach Clowney does a good job. They've played a couple of good teams. They played an FCS team in ETSU. They've played Limestone, who I think does a nice job. And I think the defense is the strong suit of that team. And we understand that they're a prideful program with lots of tradition, and it's a tough place to go on the road and play.
Well, Coach, best of luck in that matchup. 1 p.m. this Saturday. You can catch it on Flow Sports, but also on WHKY as well, as Lenoir-Rhyne looks to go 2-0 in conference play and 4-0 overall. Coach, thank you so much for joining us on Bears Talk.
Yep.
Hello and welcome back to Bears Talk, presented by J. Brown Realtor. We are now joined alongside by Lenoir-Rhyne volleyball player and Emmaleigh Allen. Emmaleigh, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, congratulations. You're the SAC Offensive Player of the Week. Second time you've gotten this award. What does it mean the second time around for you and for your team?
I think it's just exciting collectively. There's been a lot of hard work that's been put into getting this award, and just continuing to work hard and hope that it pays off for everyone, including myself.
In Tuesday's victory against Anderson, you had 13 kills, second most on the team, with 13 digs as well, or fourth most on the team. We talked to Coach Berenger after the match. He said it was a big win for this team, but from a student-athlete perspective and a player on the court, how much of a win was this for your squad?
This was really big for us, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that everybody just has to do their job. And I felt like last night collectively we can all say that we did that, and I'm just really proud because that's good volleyball, trusting that your teammates are going to come through and you might not. So I just say it's a big win. Shout out to everyone who came and supported. It made it fun for us. I hope it was entertaining for you guys. So
it was an electric atmosphere, and now it is the second time in back-to-back years that you guys have jumped out to a 4-0 start in conference play. From an execution standpoint, how did you guys get to this point, and what was the big message to get back to being 4-0 to start off SAC play?
So this year we've just been prioritizing getting a head start in the game, starting fast, starting well, first to 5, first to 10, first to 15, and also just the fact that you got to get over your mistakes. Coach Berenger talked about that last night in your interview, and that's been big for us, just mental fortitude and trusting that you're going to come through, your skills are going to pull through, and that your teammates are going to be there for you. So.
As a freshman last year, you were just getting to learn what Lenoir-Rhyne volleyball was, but now in the second year, all the players that you played with last year, they've gone on, graduated, and you have this retooled roster around them. How has that roll from being a freshman to a sophomore been a big impact of your time here, but also becoming an on-court leader as well?
It's been great. Last year they came off of a really successful season, Sweet 16 appearance, and I feel like there was a standard or expectation, going into games okay, we're going to win, we're going to pull through, and this year it's just the vibes are fun, they're fresh, you don't know what's going to happen. We have a completely new roster, so I think it's just the perspective that anything can happen. You know, we're just going out there and playing volleyball and having ourselves a day. So it's been fun. It's been good. Being a leader, you know, I'm big on the whole student athlete, you know, just my experience at university as a whole. So I think just taking some of the pressure off and taking that perspective where it's like, we're just going to go, we're going to play, we're going to have fun. I think that helps a lot. And I hope that my teammates are able to embrace that too. So.
Second year with you and Coach Berringer being together, it's also only year 2 into the Nicole Berringer era.
Yeah.
How has that relationship been such a dynamic, and how have you both really taken your time here in Hickory and both have excelled in multiple areas?
You know, I think between us two, it's come down to a lot of just trust and respect. We know that she came into this and she's working hard. She's doing what she can for us to be successful. And, you know, we're working hard to hopefully put some numbers up. And it's just talking to each other, making sure that we're working. You know, we're new, we're fresh. We're just trying to, like I said, I'm just here. I'm having fun. I'm putting in the work, you know. But yeah, I think just showing up every day and doing your best to hopefully see some results has been the goal.
Well, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun. In the work side as well, is there anything you're looking to improve on as you reach that midway point of the year?
I think collectively as a team, it's like we always talk about consistency in our fight to stay in system, and that has to do a lot with first contact, serve, receive, taking advantage of free balls. So that's what we've been prioritizing. I mean, in games last night, we lost the first set, came back, won the next 3, and it really was a fight to stay in system. First set, we didn't do that as well, I don't think. There were a lot of chase balls, hustle plays, stuff like that. But yeah, I'd definitely say a focus to just make that first contact well so that we can run our offense.
Friday night, home match against Catawba, and then a big road match against Wingate coming up. We've talked about how you guys have gotten to this point, first 12 games, 9-3 record, but how does your team stay locked in now with a busy weekend coming up and arguably maybe one of the toughest opponents in the league coming up in a week's time?
Yeah, so obviously celebrating the victories, but then next day coming in, realizing we're not done. We still have a long season ahead of us, and just focusing in on what we can do to improve, you know, learning from the previous matches and stuff. So I think big shout out to our coaches for keeping us focused in practice on our next game, our next move, whoever we're scouting. But yeah, I mean, it just comes down to like you go into practice and it's your job's not done. Your job's never done. So just always trying to focus, lock in, and keep in mind what you've got coming down the rest of the week.
Awesome. Emmaleigh, thank you so much for joining us here on
Yeah,
Bears
thank you.
Talk. You can catch her and the Bears back in action Friday night here in Struford Arena as they take on the Catawba Indians at 7 p.m. Hello and welcome back to Bears Talk presented by J. Brown Realtor. We are now joined alongside head women's soccer coach Dean Ward. Coach Ward, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Terrific start to the season, 4-0-3 record. What is your overall analysis of your first 7 matches?
We played some really tough teams and tough competition. I think it's been good for us in terms of testing us and allowing us to improve. So I think we've grown in terms of some of our attacking play, but also our defensive play has been pretty strong as well throughout. So pleasing so far. I think we're looking to build on the good start and keep going from there.
Ellen Hansen has had a great start to the season. Had 10 goals, 5 assists last year, already with 5 goals and 3 assists for a team high 13 points. What has her role been on this team, and how have you seen the improvement from a freshman here to sophomore here now?
Well, Ellen can score goals, and she's a threat, and I think people know about her now. You know, previously last year maybe not as much, but I think you know, both in a general play of holding the ball up and a movement and connecting passes, I think she's done really well. Now I think the players around her have also used the space that she creates and are also creating a lot of chances for her and other people as well. So, you know, the pleasing thing for me is although Ellen scored, you know, the number of goals she has, she could have probably doubled that, to be honest, and we have players around her that have also chipped in with goals, and I don't think we're just a one-player threat. We've had goals from all different positions and all different players as well. So overall, our attacking play has developed nicely so far.
You mentioned those overall playmakers. Well, last night you had 3 players got their first career goal Bella Gardner, Ali Ramsey, and T. Saban. What does that speak about how deep your squad actually is?
Yeah, we made 11 subs coming on the field last night, and we needed every single one of them, to be honest. You know, it was a tough stretch of games, and I think physically we need to freshen some things up, and those that came on the field and provided good minutes were able to help and contribute. And you know, pleased for Taya in getting on the score sheet and getting an assist, I believe. You know, Ali got her first one. She played in a development team game last week and scored 4. You know, so she's a threat, and she's developed nicely. And then Ella Gardner is a threat from set pieces as well, and you know, she could have scored the game before, to be honest, and it's pleasing that she got one, you know, last night.
We also looked at some players that have made an X factor. Can't forget about Rhea Acton, already a SAC Defensive Player of the Week award. Team high 4 assists. She's a defender, but she does so much for your offense as well. What's Acton's play been like now for the graduate student?
Yeah, Rhea's a calming influence. She's a very quiet person, but she's played with an intensity so far this season and desperation, which often happens in your final year of eligibility. And we've challenged her to be more of an attacking threat in terms of coming inside and getting shots and combining, but also going on the outside and serving crosses in as well. And she's delivered both, you know, and teams, you know, seem to be worried about her. You know, last night I think they pretty much tried to man mark her as a defender, which is, you know, credit to Rhea. And you know, now we've got to find solutions to continue to get her in attacking positions and controlling games. So she's done well.
Talk about the defender, now the goalkeeper, and Kristen Oliver, a true freshman, but she's been terrific so far. Ranks 3rd in the conference, just outside the top 20 in the nation, with only .34 goals against average. She's also posted 3 shutouts so far and SAC play. What has the true freshman just displayed you and has wowed you in the start of the season?
She's done well. She's done her job, and you know, she hasn't had to make many saves. You know, in the last couple of games, she shared the shutout with SA as well. So, you know, I think it's a group effort, and I think, you know, as a team we defend from the front. So our forwards do just as much, if not more, defending than our goalkeeper, and everyone has a role to play in that. And ultimately, you know, our goalkeepers haven't had to make too many saves, which means we're defending well as a group. So, you know, she's done well, but we kind of expect that as well.
Talk about this start the stretch of conference play, 10 goals for, 0 against. It continues on Saturday against Mars Hill, where you welcome this Lions side in. How do you guys keep it going? Because with such a promising start, how do you not let the results distract you from what the plan is ahead?
We're not going to get complacent. I think we treat every opponent on their merit, and every team's going to pose different challenges for us, and teams are trying to stop us from playing, and they're part of the game as well. So, you know, we've got to make sure we compete in every game and show our quality and find the solutions of how we're going to break teams down. And that may be different from one game to the next, but I think the humility to continue to go into every game, making sure that we perform to our level. You know, for me, that's the most important thing, and trying to get better every single day. You know, we'll watch last night's game film today and work on ourselves, and for me it's most important that we work on ourselves and keep getting better for us, and the opponent, you know, has a part to play, but it's what we do that matters.
We're looking ahead on the schedule as well. You welcome the number 18 team in the nation, North Georgia, turn around with the road test against Wingate. I know the answer is always one match at a time, not worry too much about the opponent like what you said. But for weeks like that looks at the schedule and says, this could be a big week for your team. Do you look at a test like that and you welcome it? And how do you tell the players about how these 2 matches in 4 days' time makes a big difference on how the season's played out?
I think every week has been like that for us. You know, we played Lee and Florida Tech, and you know, Mount Olive was a tough challenge, and obviously the SAC conference is strong as well. So like, I think every game we've scheduled has been tough. So we're used to it, and I want that to be our norm. And you know, we want to challenge ourselves and compete against the best. And you know, North Georgia and Wingate are part of that mix, and you know, they'll probably be thinking the same about us.
It's a fun stretch ahead for you, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us here today. 5 p.m. on Saturday, Lenoir-Rhyne will take on Mars Hill right here in Hickory, North Carolina.